Democratic Congressman Smith, who's the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee, he says ISIS was formed in Syria. It really was formed in Iraq. There was al-Qaeda in Iraq, which eventually became ISIS, which, of course, has caused this disaster. Now controls Mosul, the second largest city, and so many other chunks of Iraq right now. It's a real disaster what's going on.
Absolutely. And the problem is much broader than that. The problem is all of these different violent extremist groups, al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, al-Shabaab, Ansar al-Sharia in Libya. The problem is a broad ideology that has many, many different tentacles. And it's defeating that overall ideology, working with our Muslim partners, the moderate Muslims, to find an alternative to these groups, which unfortunately are spreading.
You agree with Donald Trump, who says, he told our Jake Tapper...
I find it hard to believe that the answer to this question is going to be yes, but
well,
go ahead.
Let me ask if you agree with him, because he said yesterday on CNN's State of the Union, the region, the world would be better off if Saddam Hussein was still in power in Iraq and Muammar Gaddafi was still in power in Libya.
Yeah, I think he's probably wrong about that, because I think, as former Prime Minister Tony Blair pointed out, the Arab Spring in 2011 would have touched both of those places. And I don't know that Muammar Gaddafi would be in the midst of a civil war. I mean, Assad is still in power in Syria. Is Syria better off than Iraq or Libya?
Should the U.S. bring Iran into these negotiations to try to find some solution in Syria right now? Iran very close to the Bashar al-Assad regime, which has been so brutal over these past 4 years.
I'd have to hear the argument, and I'd have to hear exactly where those negotiations were going. But I'll be honest, my instinct is yes, Iran is a major player in that region. They've been, the closest ally Assad has had for years. They're obviously close with Hezbollah, who's fighting in Syria. I don't know how you reach any sort of solution that Iran's on the outside of.
So you bring Iran in, you bring Russia in. Saudis will get nervous about Iran coming in, as you well know.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but the Saudis should also be nervous about the rise of ISIS and the rise of extremist groups in Syria and Iraq.
Congressman Smith,